just tell her that it hurts too bad and you just don't want to do it anymore.
Well, I don't know how. I'm not real familiar with the black culture, but I don't know how they feel about that.
I don't know. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the liberal loudmouth. I am here with, as always.
The real Ron Ron.
Oh man, what is up? And sorry to anybody that caught that.
Yeah,
Uh,
we have
that's
conversations outside of
some
our.
private stuff, but
It's our private
welcome
time.
welcome to the show. We got it's Manic Monday, so we're just
Oh,
kind
I
of all
love it.
over the
I love it.
place,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Gosh, we have so many topics, man. I can't stand it. I'm excited.
Yeah. I don't even remember them all, and I'm the one that wrote the title on that thing. So,
Right, but I've
whew,
got my notes here, so I think we're going to be good. But the
you
first
think?
thing I wanted,
All right.
I'm super excited about this.
Oh yeah, I know what's coming. Do it.
Melissa Provenzano,
Boom, Melissa P. What's up? She's coming tomorrow, ain't she, Ron?
11 a.m. She's the number two, and I don't mean like she's number two, but she's the number two minority House leader for Oklahoma.
Yeah, she's a big deal.
She's a
We're
big deal.
excited. We're excited to have her, and I think it's going to be an awesome conversation.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, we got a list of shit to get to here.
Yeah, man,
Um,
we got
woo.
socialism, we got Brian Kilmeade, and we got Donald Trump.
Do we?
Oh man,
Let's
woo!
save Donald Trump until we get some people in the comments section,
All right, all
if you
right.
don't care, and start off with this local bullshit that you started today. That I had to come at you a little bit.
Uh, so okay, well, you know what? I'll just pull it up. Let
Do
me.
it. Well, make sure you got pants on, but go ahead.
I do what I want. Okay, I do what I want. Let me switch over to the loudmouth real quick.
Do it. Do it.
Give me just a second. I'm gonna pull this up. I should have had this ready, but that's my bad.
Well, when you're working on a budget of nothing,
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're working on, ain't it? All right, let's see here. And most of you may have already actually seen this post. Where is it at? Here it is. All right, let me share this thing. Sorry, guys. This is what a producer would do, and that would be phenomenal, wouldn't you say, Ron?
absolutely. And we're taking applications as long as you work for like compliments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Compliments. That's what we do. Okay, so right here, I'm going to scroll in so y'all can see. I'd made a post on Twitter. Matt Pinnell had published this. If you don't know, the Lowood and Hodges Bend, the building caught on fire. I mean, it was pretty bad. Like the
It
fire
was
was
really a tragic
terrible.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked. But he pushed this GoFundMe account uh, for the business,
And I'll say that
and
nobody was killed, nobody lost their life, but they did lose their business, and there's some people lost their apartments. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no, and as I said here, while I feel bad for the business, it's a capitalist entity, is it not, Ron? I mean, they're a for-profit company,
Hmm.
and they do very well. Those
They make
businesses,
some profit. They really
yeah,
do.
yeah, and here Matt Pinnell is the lieutenant governor pushing for people to donate to this for-profit corporation, which I mean, that's you could argue that's a socialist endeavor, couldn't you? when you
Yes.
when you ask people to take care of stuff. And now, like I say here, I'm not opposed to someone asking for help, but there's some hypocrisy here when that same person, Matt Pinnell, would be upset or pissed off if we said, "Hey, we can help people out by, I don't know, forgiving debt or giving the $1,200 like COVID relief money." A lot of people were upset about that. I mean, what do you think? Is that hypocrisy, or am I just a crazy liberal?
Well, you are a crazy liberal, but here's
Ha!
here's my thought on that. When it comes to Tulsa, and if you we lived in Tulsa up until a few months ago. So if you went into Tulsa, we lived in Owasso, but I say Tulsa Metro. If you went into Tulsa, there's so many things wrong with Tulsa. And then Matt Pinnell is actually the lieutenant governor. I like the dude. He's got some great values that I support. But he's from Tulsa, I believe. And for him to tout and send out and share this GoFundMe for this restaurant that is obviously going to have insurance pay for it. I mean, it was probably a multi-million-dollar building or restaurant, whatever. That insurance is going to pay for, but he's out there trying to get people to give money to this GoFundMe that goes to one person that I know of.
Right.
Where's that money go? And we have all these homeless problems. We have all these small time businesses that are just
struggling,
just barely making it.
Yeah.
And I don't see him out there on that platform in the same way. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does do that. And if he does, that's wonderful. But I haven't seen that. I mean, he was quick on this.
It was, I mean, damn, it was almost immediate. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm opposed to what he was pushing. Like, my point is that they do this and then turn around and get upset when somebody asks for people to be helped. And to me, that's like what? Why is there a line there? Why is it okay for like socialism for a business, but we can't, as a community, say, okay, we're going to help these people, and we're going to do it through penny tax raise to build a building that'll house some of the homeless people, or feed them, or whatever it is we could do,
or the food pantries, or there's. Anything. I mean, what was the last time you told me it was like $64,000 they had raised overnight, basically?
Yeah. And it was for the employees. And here's the thing. Those employees will now be eligible for unemployment. But I'll also point out that most of the employees at the restaurants, they don't get paid much. These people are not getting paid much. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, your wait staff and your hostesses and things like that. Yeah, they're probably, and even your cooks are probably making $15-20 an hour, if that.
Right. And they can, they could get unemployment because of this, and they'll be just fine. I think they can get it for 6 months, is it, until it runs out?
Yeah, and then you have to like reapply and this and that. And these are, from what I understand, is these are businesses that they have several different businesses or restaurants. It's like a restaurant group. Is what I understood.
Yeah. So there was some confusion on my part when I was looking at the building, and I didn't even look this up when I made that tweet. But later somebody asked a question about who was it for, and in the GoFundMe, it was by this Jonna Hayes. So I looked it up, and when I looked at the building, I thought the building was the Bramble building, because I used to work like right across the street from it, and it looked like it. Well, she is co-owner of the Bramble and a couple of other businesses. So the lady that did the GoFundMe is not the person that that owns the businesses that were on fire. There may be confusion, and that's my bad. So I'm happy to correct that. But regardless, you're donating to a business like for their employees, and I don't know. I'm fine with that if those same people would also acknowledge that we should probably be okay with helping people out,
right? And
generally speaking,
to the we're not. I don't think you were, and I'm definitely not. But nobody's being insensitive to the fact that there was a fire. People lost their livelihood. People lost their homes. Several people lost their homes. But this restaurant group also owns other places that maybe we can put those people to work at or whatever. So the whole GoFundMe, and I've done a couple of GoFundMes. I don't like them because I don't like asking people for money. But when I see somebody like Matt Pinnell come out for a privately owned business and support a GoFundMe, that sends off red flags to me.
Yeah. Like, okay, how does he know these people? Does he have a hand in the business? Did he invest at some point? I mean, lots of questions come up, and I posted that in the comments because I'm like, maybe I am being overly, dramatic about it, but it just, things like that just kind of irritate me, where there's this double standard, and
you try to right the wrongs of the world.
I mean, even if I shouldn't, maybe that's. Now, I was gonna try to pull some pictures of this building up. Let me
that building it looks like it's a complete total loss too.
Yeah, just so y'all can see what it looks like here. I mean, it's it's pretty bad.
And I've eaten at Lowood. Lowood's is pretty good, but it's pricey.
It says view all photos, but it only gives me one to look at.
That
Yeah,
looks
I
like
mean,
Dana Pareto.
there is a picture of like top down, and like there's this big hole in the building. Here's a video. Let's. Oh God, it's gonna make me go somewhere. Let's see. Is that
Yeah, there was like some drone
wow?
footage taken of it.
So yeah, I mean it's it sucks for everybody involved, but if we're willing to help people out, let's just help them out.
What's wrong with building it? It caught fire.
Yeah, it caught fire, and have you heard if they've said what the cause was? Uh,
Oxygen, a ignition source, and a fuel.
Listen to you,
Oh shit!
Joker. Yeah, I haven't read what what they said
No,
like
I don't.
caused it. So
Um,
anyway, I
let's
think that's out of the way.
let's
So
let's let's real quick. Let's update everybody on Lane Brown here.
oh mild. Oh wow. Mild concussion for basketball practice, living the best life. On a side note, Ron, you coming to watch some of my games this year? I assume that's a question.
I can. I don't have a schedule. If you can send me a schedule, I don't know if you know this or not, Lane. I'm a big deal. I got shit to do, but yeah, I would love. And he's saying this because he actually has showed up to some of my kids' ball games and Lane refs and does umpiring and stuff on the side. He's a
Well,
good high school kid, so
I hope you get that concussion. I hope that resolves quickly. That sucks.
yeah.
Concussion. That can
And
get pretty bad. And
I have
so
no
they're
idea.
trying to restore it. Yeah, I mean it was based on the GoFundMe page. It says that it was for the 75 employees. But whenever the flood, remember the River Spirit flooded out. Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that was bad.
It
The
was
flood
shut
of
down for like a month.
2019 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was flooded for like a month or 2 months. They paid every employee full time the entire time they were shut down. They did the same thing with COVID. So it's possible to go ahead and do the right thing as a business. They do it all the time. But anyway, so moving on. Do you want to do, the Trump thing or the Brian Kilmeade thing?
Let's go to the Trump thing. Let's go to the Trump thing.
Okay.
Because
So
I know how you are about Trump, and you know how I am about Trump. And
this one's crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna play a video. Y'all listen careful. Listen to what's said here. Let me
Trump,
scroll in. Good old Donnie. Let's go, Donnie.
Donnie T.
Oh, I muted it.
When you ask which was the highest quality gun, sir, it's this one.
What is the quality of this gun?
That's a Glock. Glock actually did that, and these are actually great sellers for us. We sell.
And you sell with the picture?
We do. It comes exactly like this from Glock.
Wow. Good. And they sell well.
They sell
They like
very
me.
well.
Of course. I gotta buy one. I want to buy one.
Sir, if you want one, this one.
No, I want to buy one. I want to buy one.
Can I get one more picture with the president?
Go ahead.
Okay, so in there they're talking about a Glock, right? And he says, "I want to buy one." The Trump campaign later came out and said Trump bought a gun from the South Carolina dealer. Well, they then later deleted it, and the reason is that it's a violation of federal law if you're under federal indictment or a felony indictment, I believe, to purchase a gun while you've been indicted for a felony. And you can attest
speak.
to this.
Yeah, I can speak to this because
Go
I
for
just from May, I think it was May 24th, whenever I was arrested for that felony charge that has since been dismissed. That was on my paperwork when I went to jail or got out of jail. During the proceedings, if you're under indictment or charged with a felony charge, you cannot be in possession or own or be around or purchase a firearm. So I had to give all my guns over to my brother-in-law and sister and get them out of my possession, because if not, then I just immediately went back to jail. It's very plain. If you can read, I don't know that Donald Trump even would know that, but somebody around Donald Trump should have known that. And the seller, who, unless he was living under a rock and just came out yesterday, has to know that Donald Trump is under felony indictment.
Yeah, it is any felony indictment, even a state felony.
Yeah.
because yours was a state felony, right?
Yep, mine was
yeah.
a state
Yeah.
felony, and but that was on my paperwork.
Right. And so now this brought up an interesting conversation between Ron and I after, because this just happened. Like, this just came out just
Today. Yeah, just today. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so I can see like both sides here, where you wouldn't want a person who may or may not have committed some felony to run out and buy a gun right after they've been indicted. I mean, there's probably a good reason for that. But at the same time, it's like, you haven't been convicted yet. So, weighing the safety of the public with somebody's rights, I mean, and that was something that I don't know how I feel about that. What do you think?
This is what I was thinking about too, because we talked about this, but this goes along with what is the severity of the felony?
Right.
Did you break in and try to kill somebody? Was it a domestic dispute? If you're going out there stealing catalytic converters off of cars and stuff, I have a problem with it. I don't know. So there's a lot to weigh out, and that's why it's so complicated and convoluted. Everybody's like, nope, if you get arrested, you can't have a gun.
Yeah, and it does seem reasonable enough to me, and maybe they should say, if it's for a violent type crime, that is true, while because somebody's embezzling money.
Right. And I'll say this, Tim, and I know my conservative peeps are going to beat me up on this, but I think it should be the same with cash bonds. Unless you've done something so fucking horrendous. I mean, if you're embezzling, or you stole a bunch of money, or you stole a car, if nobody got hurt or nobody was even around you, no. I mean, and I'm not saying if you're guilty, you shouldn't, but I'm just like, in my case, I had a $10,000 cash bond. It cost $1,000 for me to get out, knowing, and I even told Officer Bivens or Deputy Bivens in booking, I'm like, why are you doing this, dude? You know that these charges won't stick.
Right.
And he's like, oh yeah, they will. You're being an asshole. Here's another charge, stalking. And so I had a $10,000 cash bond that my father had to put up $1,000, and we won't ever see that money back.
Right.
And it was dismissed because, like I told Officer Bivens, it was bullshit.
Yeah, that is, and some states have gone to that where they don't do cash bond, and for that reason, right there was a case, and I know you and I have talked about this, but there was a case where this, I call him a kid, but I think he was like 19, maybe 20. Where
you told me about. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yes, dude was charged with a crime, and he never went to court. Right? They just never brought him before a judge. Paperwork got jumbled up or missed or whatever. So he ends up staying in there. He doesn't have family to get the bond. He couldn't get out. 3 years later, he was in there for 3 years. I believe it was 3 years. Somebody can correct me if they know the story. He ended up killing himself because he was stuck there. It's like, and I believe he claimed he didn't even do what it was that they were accusing him of doing. And he ends up killing himself because, he's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
This is, well, you remember me telling you about the little town I live next to in Gore?
Yeah.
Gore, across the river from Warner, is Gore, Oklahoma. And I got a ticket, and I was parked in a handicap spot at this little wonderful store. They sell the greatest pizza pockets and burritos. But anyway, they don't paint their parking lot for shit, so I didn't know I was in a handicap spot. But I got like a $175 ticket. Well, I went to court, and I had taken pictures of the handicap spot. It was covered with oil and this and that. And I walk in, I'm like, when do we get to talk to the judge? And the court clerk said, here in just a second, if you walk in there, he's going to ask you if you're ready to pay the ticket, or he'll put you in jail.
Wow.
Now, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm going to plead not guilty. She's like, no, you're going to go to jail.
See, that's bullshit. Everybody should be allowed to plead not guilty. I mean, that's, it's written into our laws. I mean, that's.
Here's my thing about. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Here's my thing about Donald Trump. And y'all know that I have said that if Donald Trump's name is on the ballot legally, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because I love his policies. The man is personal, the way he treats people and talks to people and stuff. Whatever. That's my personal business. But I do like his policies, his foreign policies, and all that kind of stuff. he should not have been around guns today. So whoever's taking care of him, and I know that he has to campaign with the 2A people and this and that.
Yeah.
But some of this makes me think that it's done on purpose.
Right. Now, Jennifer brings up a good point. And yes, we were aware of this, that we, because we were reading on up.
Oh,
on
yeah.
it.
Well,
But
Tim
the deal
was.
is, the thing here is that doesn't set precedent. That is a district court in a state, and they can still charge you for these things until it gets out of that into a higher court. So
Right. And the difference is you have district courts, then you have, what is it?
The federal courts.
Yeah, but it's called, you have districts, and what is it? The circuit courts. You have like 4 or 5 big circuit courts, right?
Right. And I believe that case was a state case.
Right.
So that would be relevant to Texas. So, you can cite like case law to give an example of how other states have handled it, but case law and precedent for Texas won't really go over in another state.
Right.
So until it gets out into the federal court, then it's kind of the lawyer could cite it, but the judge will probably just look at it and be like, well, that was there.
And this goes so much further because like the Ninth Circuit Court, I believe, is like Washington, Oregon, Idaho, the whole West Coast area up there. It involves several different states. So when you have a ruling come out in that circuit court, that sets precedent for that region, and then so forth and so on. Am I correct in my assumption of that?
Now, I say that one more time. I was reading a comment. Sorry.
Like in Texas, you have district courts, and if you have a ruling come out for a Texas Supreme Court or whatever, that sets precedents in Texas. But like on the Ninth Circuit, which includes Washington State, Oregon, some of California, Idaho, you have multiple states. So those rulings set precedents for that region. And then you have the Supreme Court that sets precedents for the entire country.
Correct. Yes,
Okay,
that is correct.
okay.
Now the federal cases have set more, like federal courts set better precedent than, a state court would nationally. And those have more weight to them when they're cited in a case. But ultimately, because we've seen time and time again that they'll still do it, they'll still charge, and it'll still go up. And then finally, when somebody manages to get it to the Supreme Court, then it goes. And if the Supreme Court doesn't see the case, and then it reverts back to the prior ruling, then that becomes the de facto precedent. And she had talked about the citing SCOTUS in that. I haven't read the SCOTUS case that they cited, but this judge was giving an opinion about what SCOTUS had cited in a different case, and I believe it wasn't completely, totally relevant. But I don't know. I didn't read the entire case, so as far as that goes, but the question here is it reasonable enough to make it where you can't buy a gun or have a gun if you're under felony indictment? Does the general public think maybe that's a restriction we can keep in place or not?
Well, here's my opinion, my very knowledgeable opinion, because I have been a couple times in court. But there was no reason. My livelihood doesn't depend on whether or not I have a gun. I'm a big 230, 6'2" dude, so I don't need a gun necessarily to defend myself. But for those,
you got 2 guns, Ron. What do you say?
yeah, we got the Ron show here.
Yeah.
But for those 3 months, my life didn't change because I didn't have a gun, I do love shooting guns, and I actually just posted last week. I was like, "Where's the gun range in Warner? Where can I go out and shoot guns?" Because that was one of my biggest fears about getting charged with a felony. And I even told this to the deputy. I'm like, dude, you understand that I vote? That is like my second Christmas is voting.
Right.
And you're going to take that from me because of some bullshit charges? So
yeah.
we got to get on this justice reform. This system is just jacked up, dude.
It is fucked up. You know, they say you're innocent until proven guilty. Bullshit. You ever seen Cops? You know how they play that? All the people in this show are innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
No,
so was I. So was I.
Well, yeah, that's exactly how they treat them. It's wild to me, but yeah, the justice reform is something we absolutely need. And I think I would be on board with having zero cash bond for nonviolent offenses.
Right. I think I would too.
Yeah.
If you went in and like you're charged with hacking up a family of 5, we're probably going to sit on you for a while.
Maybe you shouldn't get bond. And here's the thing: if you set somebody's bond to like $5 million or whatever, why even give them the option anyway? If the evidence is so substantial, because that's something they weigh whenever they determine bond. Although I don't think they did that in your case, did they?
No, my initial bond when I was sitting in jail before I went to my bond hearing, the charges that I was charged with, my initial bond was $30,000.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
And yes, I do have the resources and could have made that bond, but damn. And
right. then you would have lost it.
Then the judge put the bond on me for $10,000 and put a no contact order on me not to speak to the other party or victims or whatever. And the victims hadn't even filed a protective order on me.
Right. Yeah, there was no, I don't even think they had a complaint from the quote unquote victim.
Right.
I don't think that victim had ever even made a statement to the cops, as far as I'm aware.
Do you know who Long Rider is?
I don't.
Appreciate you watching on YouTube, though.
Yeah,
but
yeah, appreciate it. Deuces, what's up?
Lane, can we tell them about what happened to Lane today, or is that a no-no?
Yeah, Lane, do you want us to tell them, or yeah? Citation wise, there's crossover between state. There is, but the judge that reads that citation will weigh those things, depending on how it goes. That'd be like citing a traffic ticket, or somebody's like, well, I got this out. Because they have like a journal. It's I can't remember the name of it, where if your case is relevant to other cases or could be relevant, they'll take your case and put it in there where it makes it easier to cite it. And there's some like law journal that does that, so that it makes it easier for lawyers to cite them, because if all you have is the case number, I guess it's harder to cite, and because then the judge can't just go to his reference. He has to actually go and physically and look up the case, through those avenues that allow that. But
is he not watching anymore?
Jennifer, it is crazy. Yeah, he may not be, but anyway. So the Trump thing, we hit on that. I don't know. You got anything else to say about that?
Trump should not have been at that gun show or wherever he was today. That's just my personal opinion. I think it was staged. I think it was set up, and I don't think that leads credence to what I look for in a leader. If you're trying to get votes to win, that's fine. Go out and support your OK2A, your 2A groups. That's wonderful, but don't put yourself in a compromising situation. And I'm one to talk because you and I both know that I've put myself in some very compromising situations. So it is what it is.
Yeah, my conspiracy mind goes to, he's doing this on purpose to rile up his base, which then causes people to donate. Because imagine if he gets charged, if they find that he did buy the gun and he gets charged with it, can you imagine how the beehive is going to be going at that point?
Oh yeah, 2A. You don't mess with.
Oh my God.
You don't mess with the First Amendment. And you don't mess with the Second Amendment, and that's just people will go batshit crazy over that.
Yeah, he needs to surround himself around smarter people. I have to say, I think Trump just does what Trump wants to do, and nobody could tell him otherwise. That's why he's lost so many attorneys. They're like, man, fuck you. We're out of here. That, and he doesn't like to pay them. So we can move on to this Brian Kilmeade thing.
I love my man Brian Kilmeade, son.
So I think this is funny because Joe Biden is under an impeachment inquiry, and he one of the things, and I've got to pull it back up.
Oh, Lane's back.
I thought I had it.
Lane, can we
Oh.
tell everybody what happened to you today, or is that something you want to keep on the down low? Or
Oh crap! I think where's that? Hold on. I accidentally closed it off earlier, so now I'm gonna have to find it again.
well, and we don't have to talk about it. I just wanted to update everybody because we've been blasting it out on the show. So I just wanted to update everybody. Is all I was asking about.
Oh right,
the thing.
Did he say he doesn't want to talk about it?
I don't know. I
Did
just
he not
asked him.
answer?
He said I'm back. I was like, okay.
Okay, so I've got this video that I want y'all to watch, and it's a couple of minutes long, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Is it Brian Kilmeade?
Yes.
I love Brian
Yeah.
Kilmeade.
All right, here we
Yeah,
go.
Trump should not have been around those guns.
All right, here we go.
A man who says he was friends of yours who you asked to come back and help out during the transition after the previous regime. Here's what he said on why he was fired by you. Listen.
Poroshenko fired me at the insistence of the then Vice President Biden because I was investigating Burisma. There were no complaints whatsoever, no problems with how I was performing at my job, but because pressure was repeatedly put on President Poroshenko, that is what ended up in him firing me.
Is that why he got fired, because of the $1 billion and the former vice president, now president?
First of all, this is the completely crazy person. This is something wrong with him. Second, there is no one single word of truth. And third, I hate the idea to make any comments and to make any intervention in the American election. We have very much enjoyed the bipartisan support, and please do not use such person like Shokin to undermine the trust between bipartisan support and Ukraine.
Look at his face.
What do you mean? He's not your friend?
I don't see him maybe 4 years or something at all, and hate the idea to have him because he play very dirty game, unfortunately.
Okay, so that is not true. He didn't get fired because of Joe Biden.
He was fired because of his own statement, and if he do not do that, next day Ukrainian parliament will fire him with that.
All right, Mr. President, thanks so much. Stay safe. Best of luck.
Oops.
No, Tim, I gotta push back a little bit here. This is the first time I've seen this, and he said that if you didn't, what it sounded like to me at the very end, he said if you do not do this, the next day Parliament was going to fire you anyway.
But he was saying what he was telling Shokin. Here, we'll play it again.
Play the very end one more time.
We'll play it again. 4 years. Here we go.
Hate the idea to have him because he played very dirty game.
He played a very dirty game.
Okay, so that is not true. He didn't get fired because of Joe Biden.
He was fired because of his own statement, and if he do not do that, next day Ukrainian parliament will fire him.
If you don't do what?
All right, Mr. President, thanks.
His own statement. That I'm not sure. But we'll talk about and give context to this situation. So maybe y'all remember this. I don't know. Ukraine had been on the list of corrupted governments.
Yes.
And one of the reasons that it was on that list was because of Viktor Shokin.
He's an asshole.
The guy, I mean, he was basically funneling money to the corporations. He was doing this and that. And so Obama told Joe Biden, this was Obama's dictate to Joe Biden to go, because let's remember that's his boss, to go over there and deal with that. They wanted to give aid, they wanted to give weapons and support to Ukraine, but they're like, look, we're not going to give y'all any money if it's just going to go down the tubes and end up in the pocket of some corrupt, piece of crap, like even Russian oligarch. So that was why they threatened, is if you don't get rid of the shit sucker, then you're not getting the money. But here, this guy is saying, it's like, no, that's not what happened, because Viktor Shokin was claiming that because he was investigating Burisma, that's why Joe Biden was going after him. Poroshenko said, no, that's not what happened. The guy is a liar. He said every word of what he said was not true.
Okay. Devil's advocate here. What does Poroshenko do today?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
He was the president at that time, though.
Right. So he obviously supports Ukraine, though, right now. That's what it sounded like.
Well, he's Ukrainian. So, I would hope he supports Ukraine.
So you wouldn't come out and say yes. If I were him and wanted to continue American support of Ukraine, I wouldn't come out and say yes. Joe Biden went over there and did this, and that's exactly what happened.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But, I mean, what other evidence do you have?
I don't have any. I don't have it. That's another.
I'm saying, what other evidence do we have? Do, like, Republicans for this inquiry, for the impeachment, what is the other evidence that they have?
I have never supported impeachment, and this is what I warned about when they impeached Donald Trump twice. Once for just asinine bullshit, but if you do it to us, we're going to do it to you.
And Bill Clinton.
And Bill Clinton, and now here we are, not even 2 years into Biden's presidency, and here we are.
And they've been calling for impeachment since the day that man was inaugurated.
Right.
For the record. I mean, it literally, the moment he took office, they were like, oh, we got to impeach him for this. And what they were trying to do was say that that somehow, and for the record, I don't like Joe Biden. I think everybody that watches this show knows I don't care for Joe Biden. I certainly don't like Hunter. The guy's like a meth head, crack addict dude.
I mean, he looks like a good Saturday night, you know.
I'm sure he's great at parties. Yeah, I'm sure he knows where all the ladies are too. But there has been no evidence that has come forward that showed that any transaction, any money at all, had ever exchanged hands to Joe Biden, which goes against the narrative that he was doing these things to get money for himself and for his kid.
Right.
So,
I haven't seen the evidence. I hope they present it. If they want to continue to waste our tax dollars and continue this bullshit, if it's bullshit, then just say it's bullshit and we just wanted to distract you. But here's the real evidence, and let's go ahead with that. I don't do bullshit real well. I just really don't.
Yeah, and Poroshenko, like, because you've got one guy who's saying this, and we knew at the time that Shokin was that he was corrupt. And that was the narrative that the government recognized that man as a corrupt politician in Ukraine. And that's why they wanted to get him out of there, because they were trying to give him money. And which I think is fair. We have laws that prevent the government from handing aid to a country that has been deemed corrupt.
This is maybe it's just me being insensitive, but we have dumped so much money into Ukraine. And other places in the world. And then I look in my backyard here in America, and we're not even taking care of our own. And it's just really a big worrisome. It's like, I know we have to take care of our neighbors and this and that, but it's just so much money and so much corruption and a handful of people dealing with our taxpayer money. And we just have no control over it. Lane said it was cool to talk about that too.
Yeah, I see it. The Stitt interview is postponed. Now, we'll get back to the Poroshenko thing. So he was going to have Governor Stitt on the 4th, but then Stitt came back and said that there was a scheduling mix-up. So
yeah, scheduling conflict or something. But they did say that they were going to get together in the future, though. So Governor Stitt, we're going to hold you to that. You need to come on with our boy here,
buddy. Did you ever file our request to get him on?
Yes, I did actually.
Okay. Yeah,
I haven't heard anything. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not going to hold my breath because I'll die in within 5 minutes probably. I'm a smoker, so it's probably going to be like 2.
Well, and you're also like a tribal member. But anyway, I love black people. Listen, going back to the impeachment stuff with Joe Biden, we're 2 years in. I mean, we're coming into an election cycle for the presidency. It seems to me right now it's like a huge waste of time. Unless you have some hard evidence that you can bring out right now and show the American people what you're doing, then shut it down. Quit wasting money.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Jacob Rosecrans with this Ryan Walters impeachment shit. Every day this dude is on Twitter. I mean, like hours on Twitter. We have to impeach Ryan Walters. He's not being nice. And Ryan Walters is out there going woke, liberal, leftist, PragerU's the best, communist China, this and that. I understand it. But he's still, I believe he's still doing his job. He hasn't like broke any laws that I know of.
That's, yeah. And that, I think that to me is where I also draw the line. Like, would I support articles of impeachment against Ryan? Sure, I would. But for what?
Right.
That's the question. It's like, for what the hell do you think he did that was illegal that you could impeach him for? Because if you go to impeachryanwalters.com or whatever it is, and you read through there, and I even made a post about this, I'm like, look, none of these things are impeachable offenses. I mean, sure, they don't look great, they don't sound great, they make him look like an asshole, but an impeachment over, things that aren't illegal, it's both sides need to quit the shit.
They really do. They're not getting anything done.
Yeah, but like Bill Clinton, them wanting to impeach him over, the blowjob thing. Like, come on, that it's so ridiculous. All right, he lied. He lied. It's like, dude, man, if I'd have cheated on my wife, and it came out that this lady saved the damn dress, like, yeah. I mean, I'm shaggy all day long. Wasn't me. Yeah, right. But I saw you. I got a video of it. No. Wasn't me.
Here's the thing. Bill Clinton actually did break the law, though.
He did, but was the thing he did so bad that we needed to spend, however many millions of dollars they spent on?
It's like $64 million back in the 90s.
Yeah,
and it's all comes down to that. Dudes are gonna do what dudes do.
Right. And not saying that the guy isn't a skis, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even care for Bill Clinton either. But, I mean, geez, come on. I mean, at least our president was getting taken care of. I guess that's, you want him in relax mode if, whatever. That sounds gross, I'm sure. But
it does. That was horrible.
Jennifer makes a good point here. Local level group from District 5 in Tulsa filed 16 ethics complaints against Counselor Grant Miller, and it's wasting everyone's time. This is true. I've seen one of the complaints. It's ridiculous. What had happened was there was a vote for adding language about transgenders and veterans and age discrimination to employment in Tulsa, saying that if you employ somebody, you can't discriminate against them for their veteran status, their disability status, their age, their transgender or gender identity or whatever, that you couldn't do that. Well, he abstained from the vote. His reasoning, I guess, is that he was already under investigation or something for that.
Right.
I wasn't quite 100% sure exactly what that was or what the other investigation thing was, but that's why he said he abstained from the vote, and they filed a complaint against him because he abstained. And I'm like,
it's legal to abstain. Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm not going to say that he should have abstained. He probably should have voted, but him abstaining is I believe, his right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, like, that's part of that job?
People do it all the time. That dumbass down there in Bigsby, Logan Phillips, he abstained like 2 or 3 times on transgender legislation and that's what got me and him. He blocked me, but.
So she's saying that he wasn't under investigation. Let me check my message real quick, and I'll get the correct verbiage here.
And I'll give you one better, Tim, because if y'all don't know, Tim does all the production stuff, and I'm more with scheduling and booking type things because I know a lot of people. But Grant Miller has committed to come on the week of the October 10th He's having some type of medical procedure this week, so he wasn't able to come on. And I hope I didn't violate HIPAA rules when I just said that. But anyway, he's coming on October 10th, and we're going to talk all about this. Grant is, if y'all don't know, Grant was my very first politician on the show back when he was a baby libertarian, when he was running for this council seat, and we got him on there. So he's going to come on the week of October 10th.
Yeah, and so I checked the message, and it was an ethics complaint pending. So, I mean, I would say that what I said wasn't incorrect, that he was under investigation, because if an ethics complaint comes in, they investigate the ethics complaint. So, I mean...
Yeah, you have to have an investigation if you're going to do that.
Right. Of course, if you say I was under investigation, it sounds a lot worse, but technically it wasn't wrong. Regardless, so now we've gotten down into the local level, but let's pivot back to the Poroshenko thing and this inquiry. The who you believe there? You believe one piece of crap over the other? Because
are you talking about the Ukrainians?
Yeah, I mean Poroshenko wasn't a good guy either.
I'm going to be honest with you, Tim. When I was listening to that Ukrainian speak, the only thing I was thinking about was, you can't trust any fucking Russian. I don't know if that's politically correct or not. But that's racist. What I was thinking. Yeah.
That's Russist.
I was like, this dude is calling another dude crazy, but the other dude is like, America came over here and told me that I had to resign or I wasn't going to get my country $1 billion or whatever. I don't know. I don't know these people.
Yeah, I
don't trust the Ukrainian parliament any more than I do the Warner Town Council.
Oh, you could trust the Warner Town Council. What are you talking about?
Maybe. I don't know. I trust them more than I guess I trust the Warner Town Council more than I do the Ukrainian parliament. But from what that video you showed me, the very last clip, good job, Brian Kilmeade. I don't know if y'all know this, but I've met Brian Kilmeade. He actually signed a book for me, and he signed it to Ron. I love that dude. But I don't. The dude that he interviewed seemed like he was trying to spin it to where Shokin was a crazy dude, and everybody who knows Shokin knows that Shokin's a crazy dude. So maybe it was the broken English that got me off of it, but I don't know. Yeah,
and it was hard to discern what exactly he was referring to.
Right.
He could have been talking about Biden. If we hadn't done it then, the parliament was going to do it, is what he said. But if you hadn't done what was that? Like what Biden?
Yeah, we need to know what the what is. What was it what's your statement that you made that you weren't going to do something or you were going to do something? It sounded to me like he was saying, I'm going to go after these corporations, these oligarchy corporations here in Ukraine that are, corrupt.
Right.
Maybe trying to squeeze them for some more milk money or something.
Right, because Shokin was basically the attorney general of the country. He was their top prosecutor.
Right.
So that fits the narrative of, the Republicans doing this inquiry that he was investigating Burisma, and that was why. But he was corrupt. So it's not unlikely that this dude was blackmailing companies. If you don't give me money, I'm going to do this. If because I can pull these strings, I can investigate you or whatever. I mean, that's entirely possible. Anything was possible over there at the time. It was a shit show back then.
I wouldn't venture off very far to say that some of that shit probably happens here today in America.
Yeah. I'm not sure what this is referring to. Have to do your own homework because journalism. Oh, I think she's talking to you, just propaganda. Hashtag be like Tim. Well, thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate that. I don't
want to be liberal.
So another thing, I know we run out of topics. Did you add something real quick?
Yeah, I've got several topics. Roberta Stanfield.
Fansteel? Yeah.
Fansteel? This burns my ass up, dude. This is an 80-something-year-old woman, 90-year-old, whatever. She was at a Rhonda Smith Klan rally, or I shouldn't have said that, but some type of rally, and she spit. I saw the video. She spit in somebody's face or spit at them, and she ain't even got a damn citation.
Right. Yeah, we've
I
been
didn't
checking.
do shit. I didn't do shit. I did not. I went and picked my son up for baseball practice and had to wear an ankle monitor for 3 months.
Yeah, it's it is kind of gross, and we've been refreshing her OSCN for a while. And I got to just play this clip real quick.
Yeah, that really bothers me.
If you don't remember Roberta, Blue Dot put that out. Well, the internet did what the internet does. What is it that you need, diary? So she assaulted somebody, you say? Oh, I forgot I put a little intro in. Let's see. That they judge you. Hold on, let's see. Veteran videos in here. At a press conference the other day. Let me show you that video.
No, that's twice. You cannot touch people in public without their permission. That's twice. Spit on me again. I got you on camera.
All right, so apparently the person that that was the second time that she had spat on somebody, and it was a veteran she was spitting at, and I mean, it was.
I don't care if it was a strawberry or not. She spat on somebody.
Yeah, her name is Roberta Fanstill, and that's with a P in the front. And she's friends with, or at least it seems to me, friends with Rhonda Smith, and who else was she around at that time? Let's see.
She was at the Ryan Walters, Dana Perito, Lena Ashley, Charity
Lena
Marcus
Ashley,
event.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
All
And
the
she-
Republican GOP.
Yeah, she
And not
pals
including
around with that
them.
group.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that they condone what she did, except for Rhonda. I think I've seen where she went out and like supported her or something. But it was gross, and she hasn't even got a ticket for it.
Nothing, no charges, nothing. But remember, Gunsweiler is friends with Bob Jack in some way because he had to recuse himself for one of Bob Jack's cases, and Bob Jack is friends with Rhonda, is friends with. So I mean, that could be it, or it could be nothing. Who knows? But it's telling that things like that, especially spitting on a veteran, like.
Yeah, that's what really pisses me off because, that's just, you just don't. There's some things in life you just don't do, and that was one of them.
Yeah, and it's weird that a lot of like conservatives didn't come out and like really complain about that.
It's because she was, I guess they were getting, and that I think was another setup deal. Because the GOP's like, if we had had more time to know that we were going to do this press release, we would have had more people out there. Bullshit, you knew. You knew.
Yeah. She was blowing whistle at Rev Turner rally. Reverend Turner. Oh, was it you talking about that video that Rhonda was holding that sign in front of that dude and I guess calling him a pedophile? Is that the one you're talking about?
Who is this, Jennifer?
Yeah. She was saying that she was blowing whistle at Rev Turner rally. I think she might have been Roberta was. Yeah, anyway, it's wild to me. Yeah, and you get an ankle bracelet for 3 months while you try to get in front of a judge to clear your name, and near black men never blow whistle. This was years later. Okay, then I'm not sure what that's about. But something I was wanting to talk about was the gas prices and kind of the unfair complaints lodged against Biden over this. Because I'm of the opinion that like Trump can't take credit for the price of gas going down, and Biden can't take the blame for it, going up. And I say that because
Do tell, because I would like to know about this. Go ahead. Come on.
So the complaint against Biden is that, he's shutting down U.S. production. He's shutting down U.S. production, but he has approved more permits for U.S. oil production on federal lands than Trump did at this point in Trump's presidency. And we are almost back to where we were at the top when Trump was in office in terms of our production of barrels of oil. So what had happened is during COVID, gas prices were really low, supply was pretty high, and then COVID hit. And everybody stopped driving their vehicles, right? You remember that when you would go out and
gas was free,
and there's like no cars on the road, like nobody was anywhere. It was creepy as hell. Well, because supply dropped Now the price of oil drops because they're still producing the same amount. So Trump actually went out to Saudi Arabia and threatened to cut off this like 75-year agreement, military agreement that we had with them to pull the troops out if they didn't cut production. He wanted them to cut production so that the price of a barrel would go up. The reason he did that was because it cost the U.S. more to produce oil than it cost Saudi Arabia, for example. It's just, it's easier to pump oil in that country than it is here. So in order for our companies to turn a profit on the price of a barrel or for the barrel of oil, they have to sell it at a certain price. And it was going below that price. So Trump was trying to save them. Good on Trump for doing that. But then when everybody started going back to work and started driving and traveling and going to vacation, that was around the time that Biden got into office. Well, their production is still low because they had cut production. And it takes a while to ramp back up, months in some instances. So then the price shot back up because now you have all this demand, but you don't have as much supply. And that's where we're at now. And we're not quite to the level that we were before, but again, this took 2 years. It's not like you instantaneously just flip a switch and oil starts coming out of the ground,
Right. I'm going to have to research this because there was something, and you may be able to speak to this. There was something about, yes, Biden was approving oil leases, but the companies weren't buying them because he also was putting regulations on them or something to the effect that, damn, it's all fun and games till the tuberculosis monster comes out. He was oil companies weren't investing in these leases because he was trying to go green and he was trying to shut down the oil companies. They're like, why are we going to invest 10, 15 years of our money into something that we're not going to be able to produce in 10, 15, 20 years?
But that's not Biden's fault. That would be the choice of the person that's not taking the permit.
Right, but Biden didn't give him a choice. He's like, we're going to go green, the whole new Green Deal, and we're going to electric cars. We're getting out of oil. We're shutting down coal miners, stuff like that.
So, like, what is the source on that? If you want to send it in the private chat, and I ask because the permit, I can't imagine that somebody would be like, no, I don't want that permit because you're eventually going to go green.
Hang on a second.
But the permit itself would have to be some sustainable permit. And did somebody eventually buy the permits?
I don't know. Hang on just a second. Why didn't oil companies use Biden's leases?
The oil industry has 9,000 permits to drill now. They could be drilling right now, yesterday, last week, last year, and they aren't doing it. Now, let's see. Which of the parties is pro-oil?
It's Republicans all the way.
So in an effort to hurt Joe Biden, what would be a really good way to do that? To just refuse to take those permits up. I mean,
yeah, that's true. I'm gonna have to look into that because I don't want to talk about something I don't know. And we just talked about this topic right before we came on, so I don't know a whole lot about this. But
yeah, I mean, because
gosh, so many people are sending me friend requests.
Well, you're like, I mean, think about it. You're approving a permit to drill for oil, right, on federal land, and then they're like, no, well, we don't want that permit because you're going green. It's like, well, I just told you could drill oil.
Well, no, but that's what it is. That makes sense to me. The federal government says, yes, we'll take your money to lease this land to you so that for 5 to 10 years or 15 years, and we're going to take your money. And then in 5 years, we're going to say, oh, we're going green. We're going to shut the oil industry down. But you've already paid them the money to lease the land.
Well, yeah, but in those 5 years, you could still get all of that cost back.
How? Because you spend several years building a pipeline and building an infrastructure to actually get to the oil that all of a sudden they say you can't refine oil anymore.
Well, they'll never not refine oil. I mean, that'll never go away. Even if we like get all our cars to be electric, they'll never get rid of oil refining because it's so useful. You know,
Right. I mean, we use it in
the point
everything
is
of our, yeah.
Right. The point is to drastically reduce the usage. Is not nobody's ever going to get rid of it entirely. But you know that is a decision that a company can make on their own. But blaming Biden for something a company chooses not to do is kind of a weird thing to me. You know, what is he supposed to do? Like a perpetual lease, like till the end of time? I mean, I don't know that that's how leases do it. And that'd be like a farmer. It's like, well, if you're going to let me lease this land so I can graze my cattle, but you're only going to let me do it 2 years, well, I'm just not going to use it. That really doesn't compute. But I'll look more into that. I mean,
Yeah, I will too, because
it's a fair point.
It's an interesting conversation topic, especially when you in Oklahoma. So,
Yeah.
I got 2 more topics. I know we're over an hour, but I got 2 more topics.
Hit me with them. Let's do it.
Okay. Do you like Super Bowl halftime shows?
I used to, not anymore.
Well, I'm glad you said
weird.
you used to, because the last 5 Super Bowl halftime shows have been done by Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Mark Ronson. Then you had Travis Scott, Big Boy, Maroon 5. Then you had Emmy Muniz, Bad Bunny, which is fucking ignorant, but whatever. Jennifer Lopez.
Bad Bunny's good. I like Bad Bunny.
I can't stand that dude. But you had Shakira and J-Lo. I mean, I'll watch them, but it's like a strip club. But here's the thing. What's up? I love black people, and I love that they're doing this year's Super Bowl halftime show is Usher. Why can't we have some more diversity? When did we get away from being diverse?
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a fair point, because this is an issue of the pendulum going too far the other direction.
Right.
I think. But they did have Eminem. But if you
Are
were
you serious right now?
Yeah, Eminem is diverse.
Yeah, so's Neil Tyson deGrasse.
When you're comparing it to a group of black people or Latino people or whatever, a white person is not those. Now,
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, I see the point that you're making. I've never really thought of that, but yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting, and
I mean, we did have Michael Jackson back in the 80s.
Yeah, well, so the liberal argument to that would be that it's making up for lost time, I guess, where, you know, these people didn't have as good of platforms. But I would disagree with that, because we've gotten to the point where you know, African American artists are loved.
Oh yeah,
globally.
And I'm not even saying just have an all white halftime show. That's not at all what I'm saying.
That's what you said. That's what they're gonna put on repeat.
Yeah,
Ron.
It's gonna be on repeat. Ron loves Nazi memorabilia, and he wants an all white halftime show. No, what I'm saying is, why can't we incorporate a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of country, a little bit of everything, instead of just year after year after year? I mean, we're going back. I just went back 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, they haven't had country in a halftime show for like a long time.
Right. I think the last one I remember was like Shania Twain, maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wouldn't have thought about that until you brought it up. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point. And I think they need to be. I mean, if they're wanting diversity, then they need diversity. Diversity doesn't just mean including black people and you know, brown people and whatever else. It's also white people too.
Right. So I felt weird saying that, but I just, you know me, I got to say what I need to say. But
no, I think it's a fair point. I think when the pendulum swings too far the other way, it becomes a problem. It's like, you know, feminists used to be about equality, and then at some point, once they gained equality, they're like, well, we need to bitch about something else, so let's start nitpicking masculinity.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
The third wave feminists, as they, you know, as they're called, just went too far. That's why I'm more of a moderate Democrat, because those people just, went off the deep end in some instances. So I don't know. It's
I got one more.
Let's do it.
Did you see my Twitter thing that I sent out today?
Man, I don't pay attention to shit that you do. What are you talking about, Ron? No, I didn't.
Shane Jett.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see that. He had said something about abortion hurts women.
Yeah, that I think that's actually what he tweeted out was, and he's just been, for the last 3 hours, he's been doing like one sentence tweets, just trying to get people amped up and going. And it's like, let me just read off some of these. Abortion hurts women. And then he's like, safe haven laws already exist in all 50 states. 1.2 million people are waiting annually to adopt newborns. New science shows life begins at fertilization. I mean, just going off the rails with this abortion. He went Alan Miracle on this shit. And so I went up there and I was like, dude, you're in Oklahoma. You've already passed the law forbidding it. What the fuck are you doing? Do you need a hug?
Yeah. Yeah, I think somebody even asked him that.
Yeah, I think I did.
No, it was you that asked. Yeah, so I've got your tweet up there.
So this is Shane Jett, who is, what is he? He's a House member.
Let's look. I'm gonna hover over it.
He's a senator from Oklahoma.
Yeah, Senator Shane Jett. Do we know what district that is?
I think he's out in Oklahoma City. Senate. Where is it?
District. I've heard his name. I don't know much about.
Yeah, he's very popular
District
in Oklahoma.
17.
District 17. So that's got to be around Oklahoma City, probably.
Maybe we can get him on.
I would love to have him on and talk about this, because here's my thing. It's already been done. So what are you doing? It's like a Ryan Walters effect. What are you doing right now?
I think it's to rile people up. I think it's to get the base going.
I went on there and I was like, listen, abortion hurts women. Well, so do potholes if you are driving fast enough. I don't know what your intent is behind posting this. It's very inflammatory and very not inclusive of women, first of all.
And it serves no purpose.
It's zero purpose. It's like me saying, hey, I wear glasses.
Water's wet.
Yeah, water's wet. And I like Shane David Jett. I know him as Shane Jett, but I would love to have him. In fact, I'm gonna reach out to him, but
for every baby born in Oklahoma, there are 36 homes waiting to adopt a baby.
Adopt a baby that's been brought into this world because the uncle raped the 14-year-old daughter.
Right, or the dad,
or some stranger.
They got to adopt the baby because the mother died because they wouldn't let her have an abortion, even though they knew she was going to have complications.
She was going to be, yeah. It was that just bothered me. That bothered me.
Yeah, you're right.
New science, Tim. We got to look up this new science that shows life begins at fertilization.
Oh my God.
What does that even mean, dude?
Plants are alive. Plants have life.
Life begins at fertilization, but this is where it gets it's a slippery slope, because what type of life begins at fertilization?
Right. Well, remember that case in Texas?
Yes. Explain that case, and please do.
Yeah. So in Texas, there was this prison guard, and Texas is a big anti-abortion. Oh yeah, all life is whatever the hell. Well, then the prosecuting attorney, the attorney for them, this prison guard, went to work. She was pregnant, like 7 months pregnant. She started having stomach pains. They wouldn't let her leave. They told her, you can't leave until somebody comes, and replaces you. So she stays there for another 2 hours before somebody replaced her. And she gets to the hospital and delivers a dead baby. And they told her, had you gotten here when you started having those stomach pains, we could have saved the baby. So then she sues the Department of Corrections, which is the state of Texas. She sued them for killing her baby. The fucking attorney argued that it's a fetus. It's a fetus, and
in
that fetus,
Texas,
and that fetus has no rights. Literally, in this court case, I wrote a post about it. I think it was a tweet. Let me see.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a tweet.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull this up.
In the very state that has passed laws, just like Oklahoma, that says every fetus is a living human being.
Right. Yeah. Life starts at conception. But this dude, I'm gonna do what is it? I'll just do Texas, and then I'll do a search for. And see, this is how we roll, y'all. We don't have a producer. If you're interested in learning how to do it, you're welcome to come talk to us. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Let me put this. Now I lost my damn screen. Where'd I go? There we are. So let me scroll in a bit. So despite Texas dictating to women that they can't abort because it's murder, Texas now says a 7-month-old fetus has no rights and is not a person. And when the state kills it, there is no compensation because it wasn't a person. And you can view this in this court document. It's plain as day. It's black and white. I will share this thread.
Yes,
in the
please do.
Comment section so that you can read it. It is the most asinine thing ever. And they even, here's the grossest part. They cited Roe versus Wade. They cited Roe versus Wade. And
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
What their argument was that this happened, it was like 2 months or 2 weeks just before the recent Roe decision. So they were like, at that time, the courts recognized that the fetus was not a person.
In Texas.
In Texas. So, do as we say, not as we do. It's just the same shit with the donate to the business, but to hell with the people.
Yeah.
Donate to the business owners. They'll dole it out for you.
You know what? I just want to say, go ahead.
8 people, it's 6 of these are Americans, own as much wealth as the bottom half of the global population.
I want to talk about that when Grant Miller comes on.
That is.
Did you see his comment on your post?
So I didn't see his response. I saw his comment, but that his comment had nothing to do with the. He was trying to throw some number. We can talk about it. I was just saying, right, I want to make sure that we talk about it when Grant comes on. Yeah, because I think he said something about, so take all that money and give it to these people.
Right.
Like,
divide it up. Yeah.
Nobody's talking about taking the money. I mean,
yeah.
I've used this analogy before. If you walked into a buffet and some fat dude walks in, moves his way in front of you and takes all the food off the buffet table every time they bring it out, and all you got left is these little scraps, you might be a little pissed off about it.
That's
in
a
every
good analogy.
other aspect of your life, you're like, you need to share. You teach your kids to share. Right? I mean, this is basic decency. If you have something, if you're eating food, offer it to the people that are over at your house. Don't eat food if you don't have enough to share with everybody.
Well, and the flip side of that, not the flip side, but going along with sharing, is you need to share the workload too. I'm not willing to shell out my hard-earned money while you're sitting your ass at the house smoking a crack pipe, just making more babies.
Well, okay, so I mean that is an extreme example. That is a small extreme example of this, because what you're dealing with is people who are earning or who are working 40 plus hours a week and still just barely scraping by, while the person that they're working for is not paying them a fair rate based on the amount of production or profit that they get from every hour of labor.
I'm completely there with you. You got a single mom that's got a couple of kids. Dad's took off because he's a piece of shit, and she's working at McDonald's trying to make a difference in her life. She's never going to get there. Never. She's just never going to get there.
You'd be like, oh, you got to save your money. You can't stop buying that cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Like, oh, damn. Wish I'd have thought of that. Man, yeah. I saved, $4 here. I'm going to hawk that away. Oh, shit.
And then you use up all your good years, and I say good years, but you use up all your your productive years, your 20s and 30s, just struggling.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it worked with me and my wife. Around 35 or something, things started getting better, and then you hit 40, check engine light comes on, but you're like, hey, I got some money in my pocket.
Right.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with struggling a bit to get to where you go, but it's when you see people who were born with money, they won the vagina lottery, as I call it.
Right.
Where they were birthed to people that just had awful amounts of money, like any Rothschild. And then they go on and expand that by just making investments. They don't actually like do hard labor or do work. They just kind of move money around on paper, a lot of them.
Right. Yeah. This goes back, the vagina lottery goes back to, I want to say this to Shane Jett. I mean, you cannot speak like this. If you have money, you can't, if you were born into money, I guess, like you were just Paris Hilton or, Eric Trump or something like that. Now, Eric Trump, he's the, one of them, not Don Jr. Not Eric Trump actually did go and do drywall and worked in his dad's hotel and earned a living. But if you're like Paris Hilton or Don Jr. or some of these people, the Kennedys, who were just born into money, you can't speak to having to struggle, in my view, like a Hunter Biden.
Right.
You never had to go out there and starve or sleep on somebody's couch or in the front of your truck. You've never had to do that. Same with Shane Jett. He says abortions hurt women. You can't make that fucking statement because you're not a fucking woman.
Right. You've never been a woman. You're not going to be a woman. Even if you came out and identified as one, you still wouldn't have a vagina.
Right. And I'll tell you what really hurts women is when you take their choice over their bodies away and they can't have that baby and they go in the back alleys or in the back rooms of these crack houses and they do their own abortions. And that's what really hurts women. Bullshit. That makes me mad when you take somebody's civil liberties away from their own body.
Yeah. And there's a parallel here with the opiates. The DEA came in and said, no, you can't. I mean, they cut everybody off of opiates, and they made it almost impossible to get pain medicine, whether you needed it or not. So what did people do? They went to the black market. They went in the back alley to get those opiates so that they weren't going through withdrawal, so they could go to work every day without puking or shitting or whatever they do. And it hurts them. This decision that somebody else made, you can't live like that. You can't do that. Same with women. You've put them in a situation where they have no other choice but to take poor steps to do what they need to do.
You created a problem.
Right. Yeah. And then you're like, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
So I fucking lost my bootstraps in the fire.
Right.
Because my house burned down. Yeah. No, it's
it gets me hot. It gets me hot, dude. It just
it's irritating. Yeah. It's irritating and watching dudes like Jennifer says, no dude can understand the issue.
You can't.
You can't. As I told somebody on the phone the other day, I had a conversation with them, and they had a friend that was a black person. The person I was talking to was white, and there was I'm not going to get into the details necessarily, but this person was trying to believe that they could understand what the black person was dealing with or has dealt with, and I'm like, look, you can kind of understand, from a logical standpoint, what somebody is going through, but until you are that thing,
right,
whatever it is, you just can't get it. If you're not a parent, you don't know what it's like to be up all night long feeding a baby for 3 months straight. You just don't get it. You won't get it. So
do you think that holds true for politicians as well?
In what regard? Like you don't know what a politician goes through.
Right. You don't understand the processes and stuff like that.
That's absolutely true.
And that's why I love having these politicians on the show.
Yeah. And the same is true for police officers. You can't fucking know what a cop goes through on a daily basis until.
Oh, we
you
got to
are
get a
one.
police officer on here.
Yeah, you just can't know. Like, you can think you know, and you'll be like, wow, I would have done it differently. Yeah, you may not. You probably won't. Look at that cop at that school that got shot up. That dude wouldn't go in there. He was scared out of his mind.
Right. There's a human element to everything, and there's a different perspective. It's just, man, people just got to take a step back and just breathe and just say, hey, we can't force this shit on people. We got to let people be people.
Yeah. Or here's another one. This was kind of stupid and totally irrelevant, but still a parallel nonetheless. Working at McDonald's. A lot of people shit on the people working at McDonald's. I tell you, working at McDonald's is hard work. You work your ass
I've worked at
off
McDonald's. Yeah.
If you work at really any fast food restaurant. Those people work their asses off, and then they get shit on by customers that come in there because, they make minimum wage, or they're not worth it or whatever. You don't know what it's like working back behind that kitchen until you've done it.
Right. So, I worked for Long John Silver's most of my early 20s, and that was the most work I've done for the least amount of pay.
Yeah. And, I worked at McDonald's. I actually kind of enjoyed it because it was busy work. When lunch rush comes,
that's rocking and rolling. Yeah, I love that.
You can't even go take a piss. It's just boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's just constant. And it was, it's like, damn, the time goes by pretty quick because you can't think. You're just doing. You just become like a robot, really. It's like, but anyway, I think we've beat this one to death.
That was a good one. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up, but it was one of my topics. I was like, man,
dude, it's Manic Monday. I mean, we knew we were going to be all over the place, and that's exactly what we delivered to the audience.
I've got a couple of show upcoming updates things I want to go over real quick. We got, of course, Melissa Provenzano, 11 o'clock in the morning, man. That's going to be a good one.
Be here tomorrow, y'all.
And have some great comments or questions. If you're going to be rude or shitty, we probably won't put them up unless they're funny. If they're funny, I might. I mean, whatever. But and then we got Monroe Nichols. I still work. He's coming on, but I still got to work on a scheduling time, stuff like that.
I love Monroe. That dude cracks me up.
He's funny. He is actually funny.
He's hilarious.
He loves sports, and I can't wait to have him on and talk to him about it. He's running for Tulsa mayor. So he's probably gonna replace GT Bynum, but we'll see how it goes. Grant Miller,
he's just a straightforward guy, really.
Oh yeah, he came over to Owasso. That was part of his district, but he came over to Owasso and sat down at Matt Eats with Tim and I and a couple other people, and was just shooting the shit with us, and I really enjoyed that. I won't mention the other politician that was there that won't speak to us, but
he talks to me. So Mark Van Kuren was there.
Okay. Yeah. Mark doesn't talk to me anymore. So
yeah. Oh, has it? Well, there for a long time. He just wouldn't respond to me. But but either one, get them both on. Get plenty of questions. Got plenty. Get both of
who's both on?
Because Melissa Provenzano will be on tomorrow at 11 a.m. So if you got good questions, seriously, guys, don't be. I know a lot of our audience is conservative. We want to be respectful to the guests.
Yeah, and if you don't know who Melissa Provenzano is, she's running for House District 79?
Yeah.
Up in it's like Midtown Tulsa. It's like 31st Memorial area, and she's the incumbent, so she's going against Stan Stevens, and I believe he hasn't announced yet, has he?
Who?
The Paul guy?
No, I mean he has a page, but that may be his old one. Provenzano and Nichols. Yeah, so
they're both coming on.
Be here tomorrow. Nichols has said that he'll come on, but we're working out a date.
Yeah.
So, but we'll let you all know.
And then Chris Banning has committed to coming on after the special session, which I believe starts on October 3rd. So that'll probably be later in October.
And Andy Fugate. Is also, because I'd like to hear his insight on the special session stuff. Because I could listen to that guy talk for hours.
I love Andy. Andy's good people. I mean, we disagree on some stuff. I mean, he is a Democrat, but he's more moderate, and I'm a conservative, but I'm more moderate than most. And Shelley Gordon, he's going to come back on sometime in October, I believe. Tim Brooks has said that he would come back over. Dang.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, follow the Loudmouths on Facebook and YouTube.
And I appreciate everybody that's been following us. We have just grown. I mean, over a day or two, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
so
we both sent out invitations to all of our people, and a lot of you have come over, so we appreciate that. We're really trying to shift everybody to go to the Loudmouths page for like our content. You know,
right.
Ron will still have his own stuff, and I'll still have mine. But
the only thing I have left to say is, if you know Jacob Rosecrans, tell him to come on. If you know Scott Presser, tell him to come on. And if you live in Warner or the area around Warner, Cow Chip Day's on October 14th. It's going to be phenomenal.
Shit. October 14th, y'all. Mark that calendar. Man, I'm going to try to be there, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it. We'll see when it gets closer.
Yeah, okay.
Because I may have to take a trip up there like within a week or so.
Okay. Well, let me know because you got a place to stay, so it won't cost you anything. But yeah, that'd be phenomenal if you could show up. I'm gonna turn in my my booth fee and all that kind of stuff tomorrow. So we're gonna have our own booth at Cow Chip Day. Come up, get some t-shirts and stuff like that. But we're gonna do a show about that. I got to get with Tim on this, but show a couple of different shows promoting Cow Chip Day here in Warner because we're American. That's what we do.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Well, I don't have anything else. Ron, you got anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Well, we rolled over by 30 minutes past what we had planned on doing, but we enjoy doing this. So if y'all want to like us on Facebook, that would be awesome. And we will catch you tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Melissa Provenzano.
Melissa P. See ya.
All right. Peace.